Not a great day for 2311 and Front Row Motorsports. They could lose their charter in a few weeks, resulting in much less payout from the purse and not a guaranteed spot in every single Cup Series race. Let's break it all down here on Dirty Air. Hello everybody, welcome to Dirty Air. I'm your host Alex Lambert, and we have some massive breaking news today that will affect the competition side. 2311 Front Row Motorsports could lose their charters in a few weeks' time heading into Atlanta. NASCAR did win today in court. The injunction is no longer being upheld. It has been upheld for the entire season, where 2311 Front Row Motorsports could hold their charters for the majority of this season. Well, that could go away in a few weeks. Let's sort of analyze everything that just took place, right? So let's kind of go back a little bit, back in time. Once again, 2311 Front Row Motorsports is suing NASCAR right now. They did not sign the charter agreement last year going into this year, because that charter agreement said that you could essentially not sue NASCAR. That was in the contract. So a couple of teams, Front Row, 2311, did not sign. Those are the only two teams that did not sign the charter. So essentially that means you only have 30 charter teams. Unsure what we would do to the other 6 charters, but right now, with the injunction that was put in place, gives them a sort of a temporary hold. 2311, Denny Hamlin's team, and of course Front Row Motorsports, kind of like a temporary charter, right? So they were able to keep their charter temporarily while the injunction was in place. Well, that has now gone away, so they will get at least till June 26th before it would go away, because there are some times for other judges to review it, from everything I understand. So it would not be until Atlanta that these teams would not be chartered. Now, there's a few reasons this is a really big deal and really upsetting for these teams if they're not able to hold that charter, which they probably will lose it unless something changes in the court system. So for Front Row Motorsports, for 2311, the reason this is bad is because, one, you're not guaranteed into every race. While this isn't a big deal for a majority of the NASCAR schedule, there are a few key events, right? Road courses potentially. Big events like the Chicago Street Race could, not guaranteed, but could have more than 40 entries. That would put a lot of stress on these teams to make the race, because if you miss the race and you don't earn your spot, you're no longer eligible for the NASCAR playoffs. So essentially you would automatically, your season would be over just by missing the race if you didn't qualify for it. It would certainly be a huge disappointment. I mean, you're talking about a team, Tyler Riddick's team made the Final Four last year. Now you're talking about if they missed the race, they wouldn't even be able to compete in the 16-driver playoffs, regardless of how many wins or points they have. That would be devastating for one of those teams, right? But another big issue is the purse money. NASCAR issues purse money each week. It's usually over $11 million. It's over $11 million this week for Michigan. It's typically very high. It's over 20-something million. I think it's over 25 million now for the Daytona 500. Big time purse money will be cut down to less than a third of the charter teams, right? So now, from what we understand, right now we have 36 charter teams, and there are 4 open spots per race if somebody needs to take them up. Open cars are not guaranteed in. Well, if Denny Hamlin, Front Row Motorsports become open teams, I'm not sure what would happen. We don't really know exactly what would happen to the other 6 charters, but that would make it only 30 charter teams and 6 open spots every weekend at least for the remainder of the NASCAR season. Now, if Denny Hamlin's team, 2311 Front Row Motorsports, continue to run every race on their own, they would receive much less purse money, but they would still be eligible for the NASCAR postseason as long as they start and qualify for every single NASCAR Cup event. So certainly it'll be interesting to see what happens with that moving forward. Just a quick look at the drivers that this does affect. Once again, from Front Row Motorsports, this would affect Todd Gilliland, unfortunately. This would affect Zane Smith, who this is his first year with this team. Noah Gragson would also be affected by this, sort of a fan favorite. Bubba Wallace, Riley Herbst, and Final Four contender just a year ago, Tyler Reddick in the 45 car. It affects all these drivers in a negative way. Certainly not great. Once again, I think this would add a lot of pressure. If we go to a Daytona 500 next year and these teams aren't guaranteed in and they're expecting to put in a full year's work to get, chartered money, to get purse money, to compete for a potential playoff spot, and that could all be derailed before the Daytona 500, that would be a massive disadvantage. I know I'm looking really far in the future, but that is a realistic possibility if it gets that far. So certainly this is a big deal for the 2311 team. We'll have to continue to follow this moving forward. I haven't been one to follow the lawsuit much, but this is certainly a big deal. This affects directly the competition side. This could add a lot of unnecessary pressure to teams, crew chiefs, drivers potentially. It'll be interesting to see if they're able to overcome these issues moving forward, especially the 2311 team. Bubba Wallace, Tyler Reddick. These guys are both in the playoffs right now. Very realistically, Tyler Reddick, Bubba Wallace, at least Tyler Reddick I know could make the Final Four because he did it a year ago. Bubba Wallace made deep playoffs run before. Could do it again. Riley Herbst still on the upswing, trying to get things, his rookie season, trying to get things going, but certainly going to add some unnecessary pressure to that team. It'll be interesting to see how they perform under this pressure. Also, Denny Hamlin, driving for the 11. He's still got his charter, but this is his race team now under immense pressure. It'll be interesting to see how this continues to move. Once again, we did get a statement from 2311's lawyer. Here it is. I'll read it out. We are disappointed in today's ruling by the Fourth Circuit Court of Appeals, and we're reviewing the decision to determine our next steps. This ruling is based on a very narrow consideration of whether a release of the claims in the charter agreement is an anti-competitive and does not impact our chances of winning at trial scheduled for December 1st. So once again, the big trial, big day, December 1. We'll have to keep an eye out for that. We remain confident in our case and committed to racing for the entirety of this season, and will continue to fight to create a fair and just economic system for stock car racing that is free, anti-competitive, and monopolistic conduct. So certainly interesting there. We'll have to continue to monitor this for the rest of the year, but I think it's certainly a big deal on the competition side too, that this is taking place. I do want to mention Connor Zilic will be racing 2 more races this NASCAR season, so we're going to try to flip switch a little bit. But Connor Zilic did announce, or I guess Trackhouse announced a couple of days ago, yesterday actually, that he will be racing a couple more Cup races. He actually started his first Cup Series race back at Circuit of the Americas, the 3rd race of this year. Did a pretty good job, qualified 17th, showed a lot of speed, ran a lot of laps, but got taken out in a wreck, unfortunately finished 37th, and then ran all the laps in the Coca-Cola 600 for his second start just a few weeks ago. He will be in Atlanta for a pack-style type event. I should be in Atlanta too, should be fun to watch. And then, of course, he will be at Watkins Glen in New York later on in the year as well, so certainly have to continue to follow that. Wanted to mention that he was going to have a ride because there are some hot seats right now, potentially, for Daniel Suarez, SVG. Those guys do not have a guaranteed contract yet. They're struggling a little bit this year on some racetracks. SVG is getting better. Daniel Suarez still right now, and I would say a bit of a slump even for where it usually is. And we'll continue to watch those drivers moving forward. That's it. All there is to talk about. And of course, let's get rowdy.